Any interaction with the president today?
Just, you know, it's funny, either he was leaving while I was yelling at the team. I don't know what was louder, the noise from the helicopter or me getting on somebody about like the lack of screening, sturdiness. So no, it was cool. The last 2 days, you've seen everybody on campus. It's been pretty surreal.
What's it like just seeing the crowds out there kind of going to the gamble and stuff?
That's awesome. I mean, just to hear the band and you know, just the noise, you know, coming from Gamble as you're getting ready to like walk over there. That's like you know, the anticipation and the excitement that fans bring and that crowds bring to sports is like what makes it special. So just awesome.
What you missed the most about it last year? That happened. You had
Yeah.
a little small group of fans, but
Yeah. No, I mean all the games. I mean, you know, on the road, like, you know, you play a big road game, and like the cool part of that is like, you know, you pull up and it's like a different arena that you're not used to, hostile crowd, wanting to shut them up, but then you go to the games last year and they're already shut up for you. And then the home games, I mean, starting to see people during the course of the day on game day, like starting to like the numbers starting to swell, and people, you know, you know, security getting here, and then the ushers, and just that whole like game day build up to when the national anthem plays and it's showtime. Miss all of it.
Dan, you've talked a few times this offseason about the expectations increasing, and wonder what's it like in like year 4 at UConn versus year 1, year 2 at Wagner versus year 1, year 3 or 4 or 5 at URI versus year 1, just the feeling in the building when there's expectations from outside the building.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people say it, but you know, I put, for me, outside expectations don't really bother me because mine are so, you know, so high, and they have always been. You know, just personally for me, I just have a lot more confidence. Just a lot more confidence because we've been able to, you know, we learned how to win. You know, we played at the top of the league. You know, we got an at-large, you know, and got back into the mix in March. You know, we put a guy in the lottery. I mean, you know, we had a good year minus, you know, the way the season ended for us. So just when you get over the hump, you have confidence in where you're at, and I didn't have that up until the end of year 2, going into last year.
I may have missed it, but can you reiterate, if I did, what you said to the guys and how you want them to approach and play certain way, certain level tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we practice really, really hard, and the games are super, and our practices are super physical. You know, and we're a little bit banged up because we've been going so hard for so long. So I think for us, this will probably be more of a, you know, more open. Probably, you know, I've instructed them not to go near each other and commit anything close to a foul, especially Adama, as he's learning to not foul this year. But you know, we want it to be more, hopefully more showy. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, whether they resort to like really playing hard against each other. We asked them not to do that. But we'll see.
How do you think, not necessarily tonight, but how do you think the home crowd is going to affect these guys who have never played in front of a home crowd before?
Yeah.
Not just the freshmen, obviously sophomores as well, and
Yeah.
everybody's kind of missed it for years.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. It's always a separator. It's a separator with teams, and it's a separator with athletes who's got the stomach, you know, to play when the lights are bright, and you know, you've got a packed house because you know, players all manage their nerves a lot differently. You got a lot of guys that are, you know, practice all-stars that can't transfer to the floor on game night. So, you know, that was not an element last year at all in our sport. But, you know, guys that love the big lights and love the big moment, you know, they're going to step to the forefront.
How did you approach kind of picking the teams for the scrimmage tonight, or has it just been what you guys been running in practice?
I tasked that to the staff, just because I wanted, in case it didn't, in case we played bad, I wanted to be able to blame somebody besides the players. So I think I had like those guys get together and do that. We went with the teams that have been matched up recently. So, you know, and then like Rasul and Tyler won't be available, so you know, that obviously puts, you know, Matt Gary and Andrew Hurley potentially in the rotation tonight, which is a big spot for those two guys, especially Andrews.
Did you say that Rasul and who's that?
Rasul and Tyler. You know, Tyler's got an ankle. You know, he may miss a week, and then Rasul's been down for a little bit now, and he's probably maybe a week or two away from getting back in there.
Looks like you're gonna,
Neat.
looks like a lot of people are gonna turn out for this. Students only.
Yeah,
Looks like
yeah,
They
no.
got the word out and people are coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big time basketball school, so, you know, it's like, and they haven't seen their, you know, their Husky basketball in a long time, so you knew that you'd get a great turnout, and the enthusiasm. I mean, it's for us, it's been, you know, Houston game at home. We put on a pretty good show that night, so that was like the last time, you know, we've been able to get in here with a full house.
Will you address the crowd?
I think I got cut. I've been so bad. You know, public speaking is not my strong suit.
Dance moves?
No, I'm just gonna go. You know, I get announced. Maybe there may be some memes or gifs on the jumbotron, which will speak volumes of who I am, and then I'll just go take my spot. The players' night. I think it's better if it's you know, just if it's about them and less of me, old guy.
How difficult is it gonna be to watch them just playing kind of freelance and not like jump out of your chair because you see something you don't like?
I'll get mad, you know. I'm say right now, oh, this is fun, this is great. I'll probably bring up something that happened tomorrow in practice, even though I'm not really supposed to hold anything that happens tonight against them.
Right.
Because we asked them to keep it, you know, keep it open, like more of an all-star type of game. And again, just not put ourselves in a position where we get an injury. Don't do something bizarre to get yourself hurt.
Yeah, how's the back, now if Diggins is out, I guess that sets him back some, but
Yeah.
how's the backcourt shaking out around RJ?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's a real competition right now. I wish I could tell you. You know, Tyrese has probably been the most consistent, you know, or has definitely been the most consistent beyond RJ there on the perimeter. You know, every day. I mean, you know, listen, it's like, you know, Andre and Jordan and Jalen and Tyler, you know, and Tyrese, and then, you know, Corey's obviously young. You know, there's a lot of competition. The competition to start, or the competition to be at the top of the rotation is much different than it was when we first got here. You know, obviously a guy like Jordan coming in year one, or even, you know, probably last year, he's probably an automatic day one starter just because he's so talented on the perimeter with what we lost. But, you know, that's still like working itself out, and it probably will through both. I don't even think I can talk about the scrimmages. That would have been maybe a violation, so I stopped myself.
Preseason rankings coming out Monday. Is it important for you, or maybe more so for the players, to see your name in there, if that does happen?
I mean, it's important, you know, to me. I mean, I would like to see that. I love, you know, I would just love the obviously the benefits, you know, the excitement that's created, you know, with that. I think, you know, that just does a lot for you in terms of the anticipation with the fans. You know, but, you know, obviously, you know, our biggest goal is to have a better year than we had last year, to be a better team, and to play better at the end of the year than we played this past year. But, you know, I would think when you return 7 or 8 rotation guys and then have a top 10 recruiting class, that would earn you maybe into the top 25. But, you know, the portal has obviously, you know, changed that a little bit.
What do you think people are gonna see with Jordan tonight when he gets out there?
You know, athleticism, you know, good size. He's obviously got to get stronger, but a beautiful shooter. You know, I think a guy, I don't know if you get a sense of his footwork tonight, just as a shooter on the move, not just a catch and shoot player with range. And, you know, he's a guy that, like, gets into his shot quickly, and you can run him off of actions, and like he can get it off because he's, you know, he's so efficient with his footwork. So he's learning a lot. I mean, he's really played well, you know, the last couple days at the offensive end. And if he's going to be that good offensively, obviously he'd be more willing to live with, you know, some of his mistakes defensively, because it's going to give, you know, Adama and RJ a lot more room to operate.
I mean, do you see the kind of wow factor that you saw with Book the first time he stepped out here? Remember that practice? And
Yeah.
do you see that kind of wow factor?
He's had wild days as a shooter that way. But the stuff that Book would do, just athletically, you know, I don't, you know, maybe a couple of years before you see somebody that's just that dynamic with the ball that would wow you. But I mean, between his shooting, and which is some of the young guys, between his shooting and some of the things that Samson does athletically in terms of just how graceful he is, how fluid he is, and you know, how easily he covers the court. You know, and then Andre will obviously flash his athletic ability. So maybe, you know, those three guys combined, you know, give you some of the Book stuff. Yeah.
Is Andre still progressing the way, I know you were hot on him
Yeah.
before?
I mean, he shot it very well. I mean, we track our, you know, in all of our live 5-on-5 stuff from practice one, and he's not shooting a ton of threes, but he's shooting over 50%.
Can you make that big jump? I mean, he obviously had some injury he was dealing with last year, and not having this freshman summer.
Yeah.
So can you make that big
Yeah,
jump?
I mean, the opportunity is there for him, you know, on the perimeter. I mean, it's really, you know, it's there for all these guys, you know, for him and, you know, and for Jordan and Jalen, you know, to grab hold of a starting position, you know, and really launch their career, you know, and then there's obviously going to be roles with this group of guys as first guard off the bench. And, I mean, we're going to have 6 or 7 guys that play starting minutes. So there's an opportunity for a number of these guys to really, you know, take off here.
He's got point guard passing skills, but is his handle improved some?
He's gotten better. I mean, he's gotten more forceful, which has been a huge point of emphasis. He's so athletic and he is physically strong. He's got just developing a downhill mentality. Just opens up everything for him as a player because he sees everything. But we're really like on him to really, when he gets that ball in transition or he gets that ball against the closeout or on the wing, to really punch it, you know, really get downhill and attack the front of the rim. And if the help comes, he could spray the ball anywhere because of his size and his eyes.
What have you seen from Richie, or how has he kind of developed?
I mean, Richie's solid. I mean, Richie's like a guy, you know, who like you're just very comfortable, you know, putting in a game because he's been here. He's very reliable. He knows what we're doing. You know, he's not going to make a ton of mistakes. You know, he's obviously in a hell of a competitive situation there. To get minutes at the 4 or 5, you know, it's Adam, it's Isaiah, it's a Cook, and it's Samson. So he's battling, and you know, he's got a chance to get minutes if Samson's not ready, and you know he's playing better than him, or if he's just a better option for us because you know we want to get off to a fast start this year.
What are you looking at to see out of Samson tonight specifically?
I think you're going to see dunks from him above the rim. He may make some threes. I mean, he's going to. I think people will be. I don't know that we've. You know, even like just an overall athlete. I think people will be very. You guys will all be very impressed first time you see him in person. Just how graceful he is as a guy who's 6'10", and how fluid he is, and how easily and well he covers the whole court. You know, he's got, you know, there's a reason why we think he's got that wall potential. He's got lottery pick potential. And I think we're trying to put together a season ticket holder and student open practice. I think we're trying logistically to figure out a day to do that.
You mentioned Andre just kind of trying to get him better defensively. What have you guys been doing with him?
Just
for that?
technique and awareness. I mean, he should be, Andre should be like a shutdown corner in the NFL. I mean, he, just with his size and his length and his, you know, again, like he's in the top of the sport in that overall athletic ability, that if he has a focus on his positioning and his techniques as a defender, things that he would allow us to be that top 10, top 15 defensive team in the country, which means we're going to win a lot of games. So, you know, but it's a mentality and it's a mindset. You're taking a guy who was always the best and most talented player on most teams he's ever played on, and you're asking him to take a defensive, you know, maybe a defensive first mentality right now, because once you develop that superpower in this one area, everything else will flow for you. it's like any other player. I mean, Isaiah Whaley became a player in this program and an invaluable one and a starter because of his ball screen defense. And then it became other things. And that's what young players have to understand is you've got to have that one thing that you do that makes you invaluable. And then you could address some of the other things with your play. But that one thing just makes the coach not ever want to take you off the court.
How's he responding to that?
He's responded well. I mean, the kid works his tail off. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. And it's a mentality that's just working hard to develop. And I think that, Dre has a little bit of a gamer in him too. He tends to play better on game night than he does on the practice floor. He really shapes up and locks in when the lights come on.
How's the cook?
He looks good. I mean, he I just can't stress enough to our guys that play the four. It's like in the half court or offensively, we need you to help us stretch the floor. You guys have got to be, guys that the defense has to play out at the 3-point line, and or we need you to have a huge impact in the paint. So just with the cook, it's developing. It's developing that offensive end. You pair him with Adama or Isaiah or potentially Samson with guys like Tyrese and Jordan and Andre with that type of athletic ability. We're a very formidable looking team. So for him, it's all about what can you give us at the offensive end, so that we don't feel like, if our fours can't stretch it a little bit, that we're playing 4-on-5.
What do you try to resolve in the next few weeks before the season opener? What sort of things are you looking to, like the guard, someone to get a guard spot,
Yeah.
secure a starter? I mean, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for, a guard to, and again, it's not because you don't, I think it's because the quality is high now. It's not, there's no default. I think, the first 2 years we were trying to round up 5 guys to trot out there, and now it's like we've got real guys here that are talented, that are battling at a high level, and so it's hard for one of those in the group to consistently dominate play because they're going up against real guys. So
Defense, the determining factor with you. I mean, in a lot of ways.
super skill.
Super skill.
Whose super skill is, who has that one thing that they do so well that's, gonna put them out there with that first group, and then, who also is gonna secure that first guard off the bench deal is kind of big too, because you're probably looking at starter minutes there. You're gonna be probably 26, 27 minutes a game if you're my first guard. So it's not like the guys that lose that are going to be devastated.
Right.
I mean, but really for me is your defense so elite that we need to start the game with you out there? Is your shooting so elite that that's what's going to win you the job to start the year? If you're Jalen Gaffney, is your creativity and taking pressure off of RJ so elite with the ball that so they've got 2 weeks or maybe 10 days to make the case for that?